In short, Buddha started the monk and nun system so that people can go 100% into the Dharma. And the vows of restriction is not to put you in prison. The vows of restriction is to cut off your mental projections, mental attachments, so that your mind can go into itself. It's not some inhuman type of torture to hold vows. It is not. So therefore, when you hold the vows, it is simply to cut and relax you so you stop doing it. Let me give you an example. People who go to fat farms, they're taken away from food. Not to torture them and hurt them, although they seem like it. It seems like it, but it is to take them away from what they're attached to for a while so their minds can relax and eat natural foods and start taking care of their bodies. People who are addicted to drugs are put into special units or hospitals or rehab centers, not to torture them, but to take them away from their attachments out of love and care. People who are very sick and they're not taking the care of their health, they're hospitalized, so they're given special medications, special diets, and special care because they can't control themselves at that time, so they have something to help them. Similarly, we ourselves, without vows, it's very difficult for us to control ourselves. So when we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, VIA, our Guru, and we're given the pure refuge vows from our Guru, from unbroken lineage. Then when we hold those vows, they have tremendous blessings because they arose from Buddha's mouth. So therefore, when you become a monk or a nun, you are expected to go 100% into the study, contemplation, and practice of Dharma. And over time, your body, mind, and speech will change. And if you become an administrative monk, you do administration for the monastery to help the monastery. I did that. I wrote 200 to 300 letters a month for years for Ganden because I was one of the few English-speaking monks. And I did that for sponsorship for the monastery, 200 to 300 by hand, no computers or typewriters at that time. And each letter, some would be 5 to 6 or 7 pages, hundreds of letters. I would write for the High Lamas, I would write for the monastery, I would write for the education department. That was what I did at that time. And so my thinking is, some monks become administrative, some teach, some do field work, some cook, some serve. All have a purpose. So what happens is we show respect to the monks because they are doing work for us. Real monks. They are studying the Dharma for us. They are teaching the Dharma for us. They are holding the monastic institution together for us. They are memorizing. They are practicing for us. Just like that old monk we saw in the mountains yesterday. That's why we support them. We show them respect in order to get their blessing because they've held on to their vows for years and it has blessings. That's why we show respect. Otherwise, there's no difference between a monk's mind and your mind. The only difference is the monk's mind is infused with Dharma and has been tempered down by the teachings of compassion. Whereas our mind is still thinking about our own purposes. So my point is what? My point is we support the monks, we sponsor the monks, we sponsor the monasteries, and we give whatever we can to the monasteries because they do something that we can't do at this point. So it is considered virtuous to support monks. It is considered virtuous to erect temples. It is considered virtuous to print books, very virtuous to print books and make books. It is considered virtuous to offer robes. It is considered virtuous to offer food. Why? Because you are creating and supporting an institution for the growth of Dharma. That is why it's very important. So therefore, when you support the monks and you give them food, they don't have to go and work. They don't have to go to the fields. They don't have to have a livelihood. Therefore, their time is not taken away from the study of Dharma. If you have the monks start doing worldly jobs, asking for money, working for money, going out and taking care of business or administration, the Dharma will die. The minute the monks talk about money, have to work for money, have to get money, the Dharma will die. Because they take their time away and it will degrade. Hence, in Malaysia and Singapore, I have one Mahayana monk who joined one of my teachings, Reverend Fa Chen mentioned. In Singapore and Malaysia, A lot of the monks have to package the Dharma and sell to the public, unfortunately, in order to raise funds to build temples to make the Dharma grow. Because here they're not very generous in supporting the Sangha. Not because they're not generous, because they don't know why or the meaning. Whereas places like Taiwan, it's very easy to raise funds. Many of the temples here you see in Kathmandu are Taiwan-based, built and sponsored. I know that for a fact. Some are Japanese, mostly Taiwan-based. I've stayed in the monasteries here for many years. I've saw their sponsors. I've seen what they do, and I've seen their names carved on. Many of the huge buildings here that are monasteries and statues are built by the Taiwanese or some by the Japanese if it was in the last 20 years.